The following program is brought to you by Naleo TV, the people's platform.
Aloha, and welcome to another episode of Classic Car Chronicles, the story behind the rides. On today's episode, we are featuring a 1967 Sunbeam Tiger and its owner, John Byrd. How's it, John?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Well, you're welcome. This is exciting.
So, Sunbeam Tiger.
Yeah,
I remember those from Get Smart. Don Adams driving it one season,
that's right.
and everybody wanted one of those little sports cars. I remember I did. So, how did you find this specific car?
This one my wife found. We had owned another Tiger for 27 years, and we had a Studebaker and a Miata and other stuff. But one day Karen came in and said, I found a Tiger on Maui, and the price is right. We've got to go look at it. So we flew over there and drove it around the block and then drove it to the port and shipped it over.
So, why did you have to have a Tiger?
In 1964, I was still in high school, and my buddy and I were standing on the corner in front of a drugstore we hung out at, and one of these things went by. I didn't have a clue what it was, but it was rumbling, and it laid rubber. And I said, when I grow up, I want one of those. And it took me a long time to find the one I could get, but finally found the first one we owned that had been totaled.
Wow. And so what year was that? Was that also a...
It was a 66, but identical looking.
And you had that for how many years?
27.
Wow.
Yeah. When it was laying in the guy's yard, and I said, well, how did you wreck it so bad? He said, well, I hit second gear, a GTO, the curb, and a fire plug. He said, you got a trailer? I said, oh, yeah. So I went home and made a trailer, went back and got it and pulled it home.
And then you restored it.
Yeah, big time.
How long did that take you to do?
I put a board under the seat so I could drive it because the floor was rusted out. And I drove it from 83 to 91. And then the left front wheel and A-frame fell off. So I restored it from 91 to 93.
So you like Sunbeam Tigers.
I like them real well. Yeah, they'll get you in trouble and they make noise.
Okay, so I know there's a story behind this car.
Yeah.
Why don't you share that with us?
When we went over and looked at it, it's got a racing clutch in it, and I've got a weak left side. But when I was driving it around, the guy said, "Are you sure you've drove one of these before?" And I said, "Yeah, I had 27 years." I said, "I'll take it." And then we had to drive it from his house in Kihei over to the other side to Kahalutin to the port. The port was closed. And they said, you can't come in. We stopped taking cars at 10:30. So we went across the street, and then and they was at lunch. So then I saw somebody go in, so we shot back over there, and I whined and begged and pleaded, and they said, oh, okay. And they let me get it, and they sent it to us Monday morning, and we got it Tuesday afternoon. So it was great, and there were so many parts came with it. We went to Ace Hardware and bought a bunch of cardboard boxes and filled the boxes up with parts. And then we went back over to Mokulele, where we had flown over, and I asked them if we could carry parts too, and they said, sure. But some of them wouldn't fit, so I got on the box and smashed it down on the bigger boxes so it would go in the little loading port. We got all our parts home for an additional $100. And then when we got home, we drove it home in the rain.
From Hilo.
No, from
From
Kauai High.
Oh, okay. So,
Inner Island, they were shipped to Kauai High.
right.
So it was fun. It was nerve-wracking because I just drove it around that guy's block. I didn't have a clue if it was a good car or not.
And so after you got it home, did you find something? Was everything okay? I
It
mean,
was, yeah. I had to clean it up, from being shipped over and driving it in the rain. But yeah, I've been driving it ever since. Change a few things once in a while, but
oh, share. What did you modify or change?
well, it had a black steering wheel that looked like one of those airbag steering wheels.
Oh,
So I took that off and canned it, and I put a Hawley carburetor on it instead of an Edelbrock, and I took the mufflers off and threw them away so it's loud. It's got little resonators, but it's still loud. And I guess that's about all I've done.
so when you bought it though, at first I think you told me you thought there was a 289 in it.
Yeah, I figured it was because it really runs good. And my first Tiger was a 262 barrel, and then I put a 289 high performance in it. I crawled under this one, and on the small block Fords, you got to take the starter off to find the casting number to see exactly which engine it is. It's still a 260, but I don't know what they did to it. But the original owner's son accidentally saw my post on Facebook and contacted me, and they sent me pictures, and he said, "Oh yeah, Daddy hopped that thing up when we built it." So it's a hopped up 260.
So you actually got to speak to the son of the original owner?
Yeah, and they sent me pictures while they were building it. It was red originally,
Oh,
and yeah, I got a big thick book of all the receipts from Canada. So it's interesting. It's the first time I've had a car. I've had 160 something cars, and this is the first one I've ever had that I had all the history of, which it was Canada, another Canada, South Carolina, Maui, and me.
wow.
It's been around.
It's been around the world. So, let's see. What's your favorite part of this car? I mean, is it because it's a convertible?
I like everything about the little cars. They're clean looking and they're sporty looking, but they're a surprise when somebody pulls up beside you and the V8, the power.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted it to sound like a V8. It's the reason I took the mufflers off. It was too quiet.
So every chance you get, you kind of open it up a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Like when we leave breakfast or something, I tend to show off a bit. I can't help it. I'm still growing.
So does your wife like to drive this car as well?
She loves it. Yeah, yeah. It's hard to steer just because the way they were made. It's got rack and pinion steering, but they're hard to steer. So she fusses about that. So I pump a bunch more air into the front tires when she drives it.
And that's, to me, that's kind of rare that unless your spouse is really into classic cars, it's usually the guy who buys the car that says, no, only I drive this car. But Karen drives.
Yeah, she found it and she said, "Let's go get it." And she'll take it anywhere.
And she likes the little cars like the Miatas. And
Right.
so that's kind of cool.
The Miatas, all the little ones, she likes them. She's took it through all the puddles on the Lee Drive and the water spraying over.
So how often? I know the answer to this question, but how often do you drive it? Do you drive it only one day or every chance you get?
Usually we drive it every Saturday, but occasionally we'll run to town in it or something, or just go out and zip around there. I've got to go down one street near us. The mufflers were dragging on speed bumps.
Mhm.
That's the reason I took them off. And I've got to go down that street yet to see if it still drags. But yeah, we just once in a while drive it, but try to drive it every Saturday to the Breakfast Club.
And car shows, you
We've been to a couple of car shows. The last one we went to, I had just had surgery and was barely able to walk, so I didn't get to get out and goof around with people. They had to come find me. But there's not many car shows here, but we usually try to go to them and at least making an appearance.
So what is your feeling about the classic car community as far as this island?
It's my world. Classic car people are so good. Karen and I were officers in several clubs over on the mainland. And, Ford, Studebaker, Shelby's, Antique Autos, Falcons, just lots of clubs. And we always got to be officers and did the newsletters and stuff like that. Started doing that early 70s, maybe 71. One person I've ever seen that was aggravating and actually did something wrong.
Wow.
Good people.
Yeah.
Car people are good people. And over here, it's a bunch of us more advanced aged people. So we're not going to get in trouble too much.
Well, Johnny, thank you so much for sharing your car with us. And we're going to go take a ride, and I'd love to sit in this little thing and see how it goes. But
I'm going to try to scare you pretty bad.
oh no, I think that's a little hard to do, but I'm up for the challenge.
All right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The 1967 Sunbeam Tiger, a rare breed where British elegance meets American muscle. At first glance, it's an unassuming roadster, but under the hood, it hides a secret. Powered by a roaring 260 cubic inch V8 engine, this lightweight classic delivers raw power in a stylish package. The Tiger was the ultimate blend of speed and sophistication, a car built for those who crave the open road, with the wind in their hair and the rumble of power beneath their feet. Today, it remains an icon, a tribute to a time when cars had character, performance, and soul. The 1967 Sunbeam Tiger, a legend that roars on.